Morning, welcome back. It is Thursday morning now and I've got a lot to do today. So there's a 27 over there that needs that wiring loom. I'm gonna get that on first. Then there's the old 140 that we were on with on Tuesday. Gonna put a wiring loom in that and I'll show you why we're putting a wiring loom in it. Also, I looked at the cab heater, it wasn't working. I stripped all the back of the cab out and checked the heater controls were all working as they should be. They were. Ran it up to temperature, and the coolant lines that go through the heater matrix, one was hot, one was cold. The coolant wasn't circulating through the heater matrix. Did try and blast compressed air through it to try and blow it out, and the customer worked it for an hour or so later that afternoon. It was better, but it wasn't hot, so I'm gonna pull the heater box out of it, put a new heater matrix in it, fire some fuel filters onto it, and there's engine oil filter to go on the 27 as well, and there's a work light to go in his 225, so lots of little jobs to do today. The biggest job would be pulling that heater box out. It's not something I particularly enjoy doing, but it is what it is. Got to get it done. So yeah, I'll start with the wiring on that 27. Okay. Another bonus as well. I'm in a shed today. Not often we get to work in a shed when you're working on diggers. They're often out and about on sites and things like that. So to be in a shed, it is a treat. It's blowing a gale outside again today, and there'll probably be a bit of rain to come with that too. So yeah, nice treat inside, warm and dry. So that's literally taken about I think it's 16 minutes to strip out the cab, put that wiring in, and that's that fault code away. So I'm happy with that. We know it's right, the wiring's good. When I was here on Tuesday, I thought I was just going to be here for one visit, so put a bit of time in trying to repair the wiring. But if I'd have known I was going to be popping back, then I'd have just found the wiring problem, told them that it was 30 quid to put it right, and that would have been it. But anyway, that's one job ticked off the list. I'm just going to change the engine oil and filter in this and then move on to the 14 tonner. Right, next I'm going to pull that digger out, so I've got a bit more space to work around it. I've got this new piece of wiring loom then, and I'm going to put this into the engine bay. So from these plugs here talk to the ECU, and it plugs into various sensors around the engine and also the air conditioning. It works that as well as feeding it with lives and things like that. So I'll show you what kind of condition the old one was in. This is part of the engine wiring loom, so it connects here where it goes back to the ECU to control the engine, and you can see that there's been a lot of wiring sort of cut and shut into here. Now when I was underneath it the other day for that error code, which was for the air intake heater, there was current below normal to that relay up there. So what I found was someone's obviously been into here and teed into the black wire, which I've traced back to the relay, and to be fair that was okay, but this white wire went into the harness and there was no continuity up to the relay. So whoever had put this 2-core wire in, I used the other wire, which is the blue one, to basically bypass the wiring loom and run it up onto the relay. So that done away with the engine error code. But when I showed the customer what kind of state the wiring loom was in, he says let's just get it changed, then we know it's right for the future. So to minimize downtime, we're just going to make it right. Now from memory with these, I'm going to need to take this panel out and this firewall here out to get some of the plugs and pull the wiring out through. So the wiring comes from down there where we've just seen, and it goes onto the air conditioning compressor, the alternator, and this is the air intake grid heater. So instead of having glow plugs in the engine, this gets red hot, and when it draws fresh air in to the engine, it warms the air before going into the engine. Then comes round here onto the 3 temperature sensors in the DPF filter, as well as a differential pressure sensor. Comes round here under the exhaust, along and down to that relay, as well as onto the starter motor. I think I used to be able to change these out in about 45 minutes back in the day, so it's a long time since I've done one now, so it's probably going to take a bit longer. Right, firewall's out now, so this is going to give us much better access to plugs down there onto the back of the where am I at? Onto the back of the alternator and onto the air conditioning compressor, which is just there. Don't think with these I need to take these off. Just depends if the cable ties are bad to get at, but I'll try and save 5 minutes and leave that cover on. That's the old loom out with the digger. Yeah, whoever put this loom in must have either been in a hurry, didn't want to be there, or had somewhere else to be, because that whole loom was literally just draped on the engine. There was one cable tie I had to cut to free it from the engine. So yeah, it's certainly it's not got any easier to pull out and unplug and everything. Just as bad as I remember. So yeah, this is the jumper wire that someone has put into the plugs down here. That one was mine. It went into there to prove a point really that there was a fault in the harness. So there's the new one. I'm going to unravel it. Can't really do a time lapse of this because I'm sort of like up on top and then down below and up on top and down below, so I'll get it thrown in. Well, no, I'm going to fit it properly. I'm going to tie it up nice and neatly. But yeah, that is the old harness. Another thing as well, just quickly, so this is the preheat relay, if you like. So this is where my wires were going to that I had trouble with, and those little screws there can be so tight, and they were seized up. I've gone around the machine with a bit of contact cleaner, electrical contact cleaner, sprayed a bit on all the joining points, just try and clean everything up, because there were some spots that was a bit green and didn't look like they were too clever. But in the past, when I fitted these harnesses, these screws here, on a concrete floor like this, you'll never drop any of them screws, never ever. But if you're working on gravel or in mud, you'll drop one of them, you'll lose it, and you'll spend 20 minutes ratcheting around all your bits and bobs in the van trying to find a screw that'll fit. Right, throw this loom back in and then I'll have some lunch. Right, I've got this wiring loom in now. I think you'll agree that looks much tidier. So I've got it all cable tied up, all the way up there, down to this side over here, and run nice and neatly through onto the starter. Yeah, I've I've probably used 20 or so cable ties, so you don't tie them up to the engine or to the strapping points. That wiring's just going to be sort of wobbling about, and you're probably going to have broken wires, which in this case is exactly what's happened. So there we go. Pays, doesn't it, to just spend a bit of time and do the job properly. Right, it's just after 1 o'clock, and I'm gonna have a bite to eat, psych myself up for this next job. I hate taking the heater matrices out of these diggers. Never mind. Right, I've had my lunch. I'm gonna get in this cab now and rip it all out. Right, that is the back of the cab, completely empty. That's all the EPOS and electrics and fuse board laid out along the side there. There's a couple of pipes underneath. There's no gas in the air conditioning, so that saved me 10-15 minutes in evacuating the air conditioning gas out of the system. So now got this. So this is your air conditioning heater box. It's behind the cab. So your air comes in either recirculated through the cab, or this little motor here will open this door and allow air to come in through the from the outside. This piece here is the fan, and our friend the electrical engineer has been having a do at that as well by the looks, but if it's working, we'll just leave it. So air's going in, it's blown into here by the fan, then it'll go through either the heater matrix, or it'll just go through the air conditioning radiator and out these various vents. There's a motor actuator in here that'll either open and close this door to direct it onto your face, your feet, the windscreen. So this is where it all sort of happens. So literally I've taken all this out, and now all I need to do is remove these 4 screws to pull this out. It'd have been nice if there was a hatch underneath the cab that you could just unbolt and pull it out, but there you go. I'll pull these out. So there we go, new one, old one. How this works is you've got coolant that'll come through the radiator, warm the radiator up and back out to the engine, and with fresh air or air blowing through this, it'll create heat in the cab. Nice and simple. Shame it isn't such a simple job to get it out. Right, I've got all the cab back together, and I'm just warming up. I've got this temperature probe here, so you can see it's showing 6 or 7 degrees at the minute. I'm just going to put it in the air vent of the cab, just to make sure that it's only been running 5 minutes now. It does feel warmer, but just going to prove. So it's currently showing 18 degrees at the minute. Like I say, it's only been running for about 5 minutes. I don't even think the coolant's... Yeah, the coolant's hardly warmed up, so I'll get all these belly plates back on it and see what it's like when I get back. But yeah, yesterday it was literally just blowing the cold air in from outside. So I've just been replacing these 2 work lights here. It had some LED lights on it, and there was a light missing up there, so one of the LED lights I've put on there for him. Don't know if you'll want it on there, but anyway, the cab's certainly warming up now, 28 degrees, so I'll just jump on the 225. There's a work light bulb to go in it. Right, that's us packed up now. Heating the cab's done, engine wiring loop's done, fuel filter and engine oil filter change done, 27 wiring loop, engine oil and filter done on that. I fitted 2 new cab lights up there, and a couple of other little bits and pieces, so I think that's not a bad day to put in. So it's Friday and it's another training day today, so I won't fill this video up with the rest of the day training. But if you've enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button, help me share this and get it out to a wider audience. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments and I'll answer them. Monday I've got an AdBlue fault to go and have a look at. It's excessive AdBlue usage, so go and get a look at that. Couldn't get onto the job today because the site was shut for some reason or another, so I've got that to do on Monday. There's a couple of load and shovel services coming up to do as well next week hopefully, and a couple of faults to do on them as well, so next week there'll be a bit more going on hopefully. Right, thanks very much for watching this video, and we'll see you on Monday.